Once upon a time, in a very green and peaceful forest, there lived a wise old tortoise. His home was a beautiful, quiet pond filled with lotus flowers and clear, cool water. The tortoise loved his home. He spent his days resting on a smooth, sunny rock, watching the dragonflies zip by and listening to the gentle rustling of the leaves. He was a very thoughtful tortoise and knew many stories. He had seen many seasons come and go, and all the animals in the forest respected his wisdom. He moved slowly, but his mind was very quick and full of wonderful thoughts. One warm afternoon, as the tortoise was enjoying the sunshine, two lovely white geese landed gracefully by the edge of the pond. They were travelers and had seen many amazing places. They dipped their long necks into the water for a drink and greeted the tortoise with friendly honks. The tortoise smiled back at them. The geese began to tell him stories of their journeys. They spoke of a faraway lake, a place so big and blue that it looked like a piece of the sky had fallen to the earth. They described mountains with snowy caps and valleys filled with flowers of every color. The tortoise listened with wide eyes, completely captivated by their tales. A great wish started to grow in his heart. He had always lived in his small, cozy pond, but now he dreamed of seeing the magnificent lake the geese described. "Oh, how I wish I could see that wonderful place," the tortoise sighed sadly. "But I have a heavy shell and tiny legs. I cannot fly like you, and the journey is too long for me to walk." He looked down at his feet, feeling a little bit disappointed with his slow and steady pace for the first time in his long life. The two geese were very kind and felt sorry for their new friend. They looked at each other and began to whisper, their heads close together. They were trying to think of a way to help the tortoise fulfill his dream. After a few moments of quiet thinking, a brilliant idea sparked between them. One of the geese turned to the tortoise with a cheerful look. "Dear friend," she said, "we have a plan. It might be a little unusual, but if you are brave enough, we can take you with us to the Great Lake. We can all travel together." The tortoise's eyes lit up with excitement and curiosity. "A plan? How can you possibly carry me through the sky?" he asked, his voice filled with wonder. The geese explained their clever idea. "We will find a strong, sturdy stick," one of them said. "I will hold one end of the stick in my beak, and my sister will hold the other end. All you have to do is bite firmly onto the middle of the stick with your strong jaws and hold on tight. We will then fly up into the air, carrying you between us. It will be a grand adventure." The tortoise thought about the plan. It sounded very exciting, but also a little bit dangerous. The geese reminded him of a very important rule. "There is one thing you must promise," the other goose warned gently. "During the entire journey, you must not, under any circumstances, open your mouth. You must not speak a single word. If you open your mouth to say anything, you will let go of the stick and fall. Can you promise to stay completely silent no matter what happens?" The tortoise, eager for his adventure, nodded his head enthusiastically. "I promise, I will not say a word." So the geese found a perfect stick, long and strong enough for their journey. They practiced on the ground first to make sure everything was safe. The tortoise clamped his mouth firmly around the center of the stick, and the geese picked it up. With a mighty flap of their powerful wings, the two geese lifted off the ground. The tortoise felt a strange and wonderful sensation as his feet left the earth for the first time. He was flying. He held on as tightly as he could, his heart thumping with joy and a little bit of fear. Up, up, up they flew, higher and higher into the vast blue sky. The tortoise looked down and saw his little pond becoming smaller and smaller. The entire forest looked like a soft green carpet below him. He had never seen the world from such a height. The wind whistled past him, and the clouds felt close enough to touch. He was amazed by the incredible view and felt so grateful to his kind friends, the geese. He remembered his promise and kept his mouth shut, enjoying the silent and breathtaking ride through the open air. As they continued their journey, the trio flew over a small, busy village nestled in a valley. People in the village were going about their daily chores. Some were washing clothes by the river, some were working in the fields, and children were playing games in the open spaces. Suddenly, one of the children looked up at the sky and pointed with a gasp of surprise. "Look! Look up there!" he shouted. "Two geese are carrying a tortoise! I've never seen such a thing in my life!" Soon, everyone in the village stopped what they were doing and stared up at the sky. The villagers were completely amazed. They had seen geese fly before, of course, but they had never, ever seen a flying tortoise. They pointed and chattered with excitement and disbelief. "How is that possible?" one woman asked her neighbor. "Is it magic?" another one wondered aloud. "What a clever tortoise," a man shouted with a laugh. "And what strong geese!" The news spread quickly through the village, and soon a large crowd had gathered, all looking up and marveling at the strange and wonderful sight passing overhead. They waved and cheered at the unusual travelers in the sky. Hearing the commotion from below, the tortoise looked down and saw the crowd of people pointing at him. He felt very proud and important. "They are all looking at me," he thought to himself. "They must think I am the cleverest tortoise in the world to have figured out how to fly." The cheers and shouts from the villagers made him feel like a king. He puffed up his chest with pride, forgetting for a moment that it was the geese who were doing all the hard work. He felt a strong urge to say something clever to the people below. The people continued to shout, some of them making jokes. "Look at that silly tortoise hanging from a stick," one person yelled. "He looks like he is being taken for a ride." Another one laughed. These comments started to annoy the tortoise. He thought, "Silly? They think I am silly. They don't understand my brilliant plan." He completely forgot the very important promise he had made to the geese. He was so filled with pride and a little bit of anger that he decided he must correct the villagers and tell them how clever he really was. Forgetting everything in that single moment of foolish pride, the tortoise opened his mouth to shout back at the villagers below. He wanted to say, "It was my idea, you foolish people." But the very instant he parted his jaws to speak, the stick slipped from his mouth. He had broken his promise. For a terrifying second, there was nothing but air beneath him. The geese squawked in alarm, but it was too late. They could only watch in horror as their friend tumbled through the sky, leaving the safety of the stick behind. The tortoise fell down, down, down from the sky. The wind rushed past him as he spun through the air. He saw the ground getting closer and closer with alarming speed. He realized his terrible mistake immediately. Oh, how he wished he had kept his mouth shut. He regretted his foolish need to speak and show off. All his dreams of seeing the Great Lake vanished in that dreadful fall. His wonderful adventure had come to a sudden and tragic end, all because he could not control his urge to talk when it was not necessary at all. He crashed to the ground with a loud thud right in the middle of the village. His heavy shell, which usually protected him, was badly cracked from the great fall. The villagers rushed over to see what had happened. They felt sorry for the poor tortoise who now lay there, bruised and heartbroken. He was alive, but he had learned a very painful lesson. The kind geese circled above for a moment, sad for their friend, before continuing their journey alone. The tortoise had lost his chance to see the beautiful lake because he had not listened to their wise advice. From that day on, the tortoise became even wiser, but in a different way. He understood that there is a time to speak and a time to be silent. He had learned through his painful fall that it is not always necessary to respond to what others say, especially when silence is what keeps you safe. And so, the story of the flying tortoise became a tale told to children in the village, always ending with the very important moral, speak only when necessary. True wisdom is knowing not just what to say, but also when to say nothing at all.